Here we go, episode 164 of the Hardline Emergency Pod is what we're calling it as we get set for the MLB trading deadline. A little training camp talk after we get through all the things in baseball. JM, episode 164. How are we doing today?
Doing good, man. We're 25 hours away from the trade deadline being over right now. So a couple moves already done today. Expect a lot more today and especially tomorrow. So excited to see what happens and who decides if they're buying or selling.
Let's go completely off topic for a second. We decided what we were going to talk about early very quickly. Should they move this back? Should they move the trade deadline back a couple of weeks, maybe get into August?
So I think that this question is arising because of the change in the playoff format. Like,
yes,
this was never a problem before, right? When we had, you want to go like 10 plus years ago, whatever, we'll call it 14 years ago. I think that wild card game, the one wild card game was put into place in like 2012, 13, I want to say. So like 2009, right? 8 teams make the playoffs. Now we're at 14. So a lot of these teams think they're still in it.
12.
I
thought I was going crazy for a second. Like, wait, what? Is that
12. I'm thinking about
12. Yeah.
Football's 14.
Football.
Football's 14. 12 make it. So that's a big leap. And now you see a lot of these teams that are 5 games back of the wild card. They're under 500 and they're still not committing to selling. And they're also not committing to buying. They're kind of just like stuck in the middle.
I think they should, and you talk about the past, you talk about what, the playoff format used to look like. These teams, the league is never going to go back, in terms of playoff teams. It's never going to get less now with the money that they're making. It's never going to be less playoff teams. So I think the only solution here, move it back. Let's get some big time players traded more often. Let's make the trade deadline great again. I mean, it's still going to be exciting. Every time I get a Twitter notification, I'm still, oh, what is this? Is it John Heyman just tweeting another random article out, or is it an actual trade? So Let's make it great again. That's what I want to do. And
all right. Yeah. All right. Merlo.
Matta.
Yeah.
Matta.
It's a quick solution. I get it. But like, you can't go too far back. Like, I'm not talking
August 25th or something like that.
And I don't know if you remember this, and I don't even know if this is a thing anymore, but there was that weird like waiver claim deadline thing where like I remember Justin Verlander got traded by doing that. So like that was teams' way of like kind of cheating around the deadline. I don't want it to be like August 31st because that's when it was with that whole cheating thing going on. August 15th, a hard deadline because of the playoff format. We know they're not going to change it. I'll go with that. But once you start going into August 31st, that's just way too late. These guys don't even have a chance to, get acclimated with their team. It's just way too late, honestly.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Push it back 2 weeks. I think you'll get some more sellers. And I mean, the teams that are selling would definitely not want to do this. And that could be any team at any point. Teams that are selling don't want to do it because they could sell high. Like the Giants seem as though they sold high on Taylor Rogers or Tyler. Both of them got traded. Who did the Mets acquire? Tyler Rogers. The Mets acquired Tyler Rogers about an hour ago from the Giants as first pitch was being thrown in San Diego. And on paper, it looks like they gave up a lot. Drew Gilbert, outfield prospect they got for Justin Verlander. He was picked out of college by the Astros. Jose Butto, who's currently, I think he's still actually literally in the Mets bullpen right now. And they kept panning over to him. And Blake Tidwell, who's made a couple of spot starts. But you know what? On paper, originally, I'm like, that's a big haul. But now when you really look at things and where these guys were, I'm okay with it, especially considering what I think we understood the reliever market was going to be coming into this.
Yeah, I mean, the reliever market is definitely one of the more boisterous markets that's in play here. I mean, there's not a ton to go around, especially in terms of hitters and starting pitchers. But starting pitchers is like the most scarce market out there right now. Relief pitchers is the one you hear about the most. Now, the Mets did give up a lot. They gave up more than we anticipated them to give up. But when you consider the factors of who's available and what the Mets position that they're in, they have a ton of pitching depth throughout the organization, and that's been one of the biggest draws to them that a lot of other teams are going to want to look for, and why the Mets seemed like they were going to match up with somebody. And they've already made a couple of moves here now. This is the second reliever that they've added after Gregory Soto late last week. So it's an exciting move for the Mets. Listen, Tyler Rogers, we know about his pitching style, that he's almost scraping the ground when he throws the balls, extreme submarine style delivery. But the guy has been consistently a top line reliever in baseball for basically his whole career. I mean, he's got a career sub-3 ERA. So this is a guy who immediately you put in the back end of your bullpen, who could basically be a setup man for Diaz, and you could feel comfortable about it.
This is their, I think they're late inning addition here. I don't think they're going to be in on Mason Miller. I don't think they're going to be in on Joan Duran. They talk to these teams about them, but the price is probably just way too steep, and I don't think David Stearns is willing to go there. Although a couple of these relievers, it's an interesting discussion because Edwin Diaz can opt out of his contract at the end of this year. So maybe you have some insurance in terms of negotiations, or if he actually leaves, you already have his replacement set up. I never thought the Mets were going to go to that price. The Yankees are interested in a couple of these guys, and I wonder if they are going to go there. The window, I think, is a little shorter. I think a lot shorter at the moment for the Yankees than it is the Mets. And the farm systems, both in good spots. You think the Yankees are going to be interested in dealing, I don't know, do I say it's a Spencer Jones type of prospect for a Joan Duran or Mason Miller here?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? We're talking about the Mets gave up a little bit more than we expected. Tyler Rogers, they're going to have on their team for 2 months. Now they could, 3 months, right, with the playoffs and everything.
Yeah.
If they choose to move on from the guy, that's up to them. If they choose to sign him back, that's up to them. But that's not what they're keeping in mind when they're giving up the value that they gave up. With the Yankees, a Mason Miller, a Yohan Duran, like you said, Duran's under contract for 2 more years after this year. Miller's got, 4 more years of control. Like, obviously, Miller comes with the biggest price tag. He's the youngest. He's the guy with the most control. He's the best out of all those guys. Like, these are guys, if they trade for a Mason Miller, yes, I do anticipate a Spencer Jones in the package. Somebody with a higher prospect rank, somebody who shows more promise out of their system. Duran, maybe a little bit less, but still a lot more than what the Mets just gave up. So I don't know. We'll see. The Yankees have shown, that they have the ability to bring some relievers in and elevate their game, right? We remember the Clay Holmes acquisition years ago when he was a nobody with Pittsburgh, ended up turning into an up and down with the Yankees, but far more than what anybody expected they were going to get out of him. They've been able to do it with Luke Weaver, obviously. So they've shown that they have a bit of a bullpen lab, like you Met fans like to say all the time. So we'll see. I would honestly be surprised if they decide to pull the trigger with Mason Miller. Duran, a little bit more realistic. Still would be slightly surprised, though.
You saw that what they did in the Twins bullpen last night, right?
Oh, the hugging and the smacking the catcher's ass thing. Yeah.
The basically like the goodbye, trying to fool everybody as if he was being traded at that moment.
Yeah. I think the Twins are trolling right now, big time. I don't know if you saw what Willie Castro did today.
Did they do it? They did it again, right? I saw he came off the field.
Yeah, he came off the field, and Rocco Baldelli gave him a hug in the dugout, and he was hugging a couple other teammates. And I'm not John Boy, but from the lip read I got, it looked like Baldelli said, "We appreciate you," or something like that. I was like, okay.
Why did he come out of the game, though? Did he actually come out of the game, or was he just like coming off the field?
No, he was actually removed from the game.
That's crazy.
I saw a tweet from a credible source saying something in regards to air quality or something like that. Like, this is the air quality's bad, or I don't know what the hell's going on, man. It's so these days you really just gotta like wait for the notification.
You don't know.
To say blah 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 or acquiring Willie Castro. Like,
that's
you can't
insane.
be like, just take off.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What other words? Yeah, go.
Quick small little, I don't know if you just saw this, but small little trade. The Mariners are trading for Caleb Ferguson from the Pirates. I expect the Pirates to be making a lot of moves. They should. They have a ton of pitching, and they have zero hitting in that organization. There's no need to trade Paul Skeens right now for them. That's a conversation we could have a different day. Personally, I actually don't hate the idea for them to do that. But Keller, Bednar, Santana, there's a ton of guys that they could be trading, and honestly, they should.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I would like to have the discussion with you on Skeens. I don't think I can get there. Sure. I'm just maybe you asked me in the offseason, okay. But right now, like right at this very moment, I don't think it's possible to do, and they're not obviously trading him. But even if it was an in-season trade, I feel like this is more of an off-season trade if you're going to move Skeens. But I don't see how you can do it. I mean, you have a generational guy. And I understand there's not much else in this organization, and you'd basically just be selling your organization and your fans on, well, every fifth day or sixth day, come and watch this guy pitch, or turn on your televisions and watch this guy pitch. But that gives me a bad feeling in my stomach, trading a guy that is most likely, if he stays healthy, going to be a Hall of Famer and a first ballot one at that. I have an issue.
Well, here's the tough news, and I agree with a lot of things that you said. He is going to be a Hall of Famer. The problem is he's not going to be wearing a Pirates hat when he goes into the Hall of Fame. So that's number one, right? Because we could basically say unless there is some drastic purchase of the team within the next couple of years, they are not re-signing Paul Skeens.
Well, somebody should. Somebody should.
Yeah, somebody definitely should. I definitely agree. I don't get like Pittsburgh. We're not talking about Green Bay, Wisconsin here, right? We're talking about Pittsburgh. This is a large city, yeah. a good sports town. The Penguins are very successful. The Steelers are the most successful practically NFL franchise there is. Like, this is not some poverty sports town, and the Pirates choose to act poverty. That's a conversation, I guess, for another day if we do a Pirates special. But in regards to
this from your brother, kind of the same situation though, and I'll let you finish your point on Skeens. But if I was the Marlins, I wouldn't do that. But finish your point on Skeens, we'll go to that.
In regards to Skeens, I understand the guy is under contract for a long time. He is a special player. He's the best pitcher in baseball, and he's probably going to be the best pitcher in baseball for a really long time. Like, we're looking at Verlander, Kershaw-esque talent here. If you're not going to re-sign the guy, and you're realistically not going to be competing within the next couple of years because you have zero bats whatsoever, to me, like, what's the point of holding on to him? Why not? Look what the Nationals are dealing with right now in a good way. They got James Wood, they got CJ Abrams, they got Mackenzie Gore, they still have Robert Hassel in the minors. Like, they got an absolute haul for Juan Soto, and I know it doesn't always work out that way, but they got an absolute haul. You could get double the haul for Paul Skeens when you think about the desire for starting pitching on this market, the talent of the player, and years of control. I think he has a year and a half more of control at least than what Soto had when he was traded to the Padres. 2.5 years, maybe something. No, a year and a half, I believe. So why not? Maybe if it goes on in the offseason because there's not as much suitors during the season, sure. Find a team that has the big league talent that needs to get that ace where you could get a decent young big league player and a haul of prospects. That's what
I get it. I just, I want to have some hope that ownership, and they're not, but I want to hold out hope that maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe they'll say, hey, you know what, this season we're going to try and build around him and win. And maybe we're going to spend a little money because you know what? They don't have to spend a ton of money. I mean, nobody's saying they have to have a $300 million payroll. I'm not even saying they have to have like a $250 million payroll, but can you get it over 150, 160 here and try and compete? You do have young pitchers currently on this roster that are, controllable and cheap that you could build around it. But
that's the thing though. Like, they have so much pitching. And like I said, they have other guys that they could be trading. I mentioned them before. Like, you got Bubba Chandler coming up in the farm. Jared Jones was a guy who showed a lot of promise last year. He's been hurt all year. Like, you'll still have a salvageable rotation next year, right? Like, middle of the road rotation. Why not? Like, the Angels literally showed you, like, hey, you could have two generational superstars and still mess it up in a bad way. And the Angels spend money too, which is the craziest part.
Yeah.
But like, one player isn't going to make the team. And if you put the lie detector to the Pirates ownership and say, hey, are you ever going to have over $150 million payroll, which, by the way, that's generous, they would say no. So what's the point?
That's it's funny. I didn't put this on the show sheet, but we could mention it for a second. Rob Manfred has been going into every clubhouse the past couple of years, just trying to, talk to the players, trying to show some good courtesy here, whatnot, say hello, keep in touch. And he walked into the Phillies locker room. I'm sure most of you saw this. If you're listening, you had Rob Manfred walk in, talk about the upcoming labor negotiations in a year and a half, and he kind of was hinting at a salary cap. Harper walked up to him, told him to get the F out of the locker room if you're going to bring up a salary cap. And you know what my number one, it's impossible to do this, but the solution would be, how about you vet the owners? You know what? There's only 30 teams. There's a lot of rich people in this world. Why don't we line up some billionaires, okay, that actually want to spend some freaking money on a team and have some fun and treat it like a toy, like our owners do and other owners around the league, because it's not everybody. And why don't we get together, put a salary floor, and actually have some teams spend money and make it a little bit more competitive? How about we do that? How about that's the solution instead of a freaking salary cap? You're loser talk. It's loser talk when you talk about a salary cap.
Could not agree more. I think salary cap is not the solution. Salary floor is. Let these teams spend as much as they want, and don't let these freaking cheap ass teams that want to do their $50 million payrolls and just make money off of revenue sharing and put out crappy products and just hope to play hero ball and compete and make a mockery out of their fan bases. Honestly, I think the fan bases need to do more pushback. Mm-hmm. I understand that at the end of the day, it's not 100% diehard fans in the stands, right? It's kids on class trips. It's families just going to the park. It's tourists. It's entertainment. I get it. But the diehard fans at least need to boycott these games if you are a fan of, the Pirates, if you're a fan of the Rockies, if you're a fan of these teams that are just so poverty, the Marlins, and they don't want to do anything, don't go to the games.
I just completely lost my train of thought. What was it going to be?
Don't buy the jerseys. Don't get any, even the MLB. If you want to do MLB TV, sure, because you want to watch them, I get it. Don't do the jerseys. Don't get the hats. Don't rep the gear. Just let them suffer. And I know it's tough.
Do you think Steve Cohen wants to spend $320 million on players a year? You think Hal Steinbrenner has come out and said he doesn't want to spend $300 million a year on, these owners don't want to do this, but it's the current situations that they're in. They want to develop players and have cheap young talent up and then eventually pay them, but they want to do it the right way. All these organizations do.
And they understand
the goal is succeeding.
And they understand the bigger brand, right? Like the Mets are even just like in terms of pop culture and stuff have become more relevant over the last couple of years because they have a bigger brand, because they're spending more money, because they have players that are more marketable. You see the Mets doing more collabs with clothing designers and, with Nike and whatever, big billboards. They're on Sunday Night Baseball more. Like you're starting to just hear more about the Mets. I don't think the Yankees and the Dodgers became these gigantic baseball teams because they decided to, play small ball and adopt a squeezing the juice out of a lemon philosophy and try to get the most you could get. Like, no, they spend the money.
It's awful. It's absolutely awful. Joe mentioned Edward Cabrera here. Again, I to me, it's not on the same level as Skeens, but you have a young, controllable arm here. I know he's been injured. He's been up and down, but I don't think I would move him. You're heading in the right direction somehow, some way. The Marlins are playing really good baseball lately. Yeah, I don't think I would move him. He's been good in the very few innings he's pitched this season. I would not move him. And again, if you want to move him in the offseason, fine. I don't think I would do it now. I don't think this is a trade deadline move. Sandy, they'll probably move, although I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't go. Like I know a lot of people would be shocked if he didn't wasn't traded. Mm-hmm. I don't know about that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next 24 hours here.
Yeah, I would just kind of test the waters with Cabrera, like all these GMs do. Just listen to some offers. I wouldn't actively shop him. If the right offer comes on the table, you make the move. But honestly, in general, because Cabrera fits this mold, I have a feeling this deadline is going to be like most deadlines are, but I have a feeling this deadline is going to be a little disappointing to all 100%. The names we're hearing and what happens, because there aren't a ton of high value rental guys that are on the market. Obviously, the number one guy is Suarez, but after him, like a lot of these guys are under control for a lot more years. I would not expect a lot of guys with 2+ years of control to be traded at deadline.
No, it could feel rushed unless you're really talking to these teams early on, since June, and you have a real good read on their farm system and know exactly what you want. Okay, but yeah, I would agree with you. We'll talk more. Let's talk more about the Mets needs and the Yankees needs. We'll start with the Yankees. They already added Ryan McMahon. They're going to add some bullpen pieces. They got Austin Slater today to hit against left-handed pitching. They don't do that well. What are we going to see from the Yankees going forward here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Yankees, it's obvious they were, we heard, so far the rumors have held true. We heard they were looking for some depth in the infield. They got Ahmed Rosario, who could also play outfield. We heard they were looking for a third baseman. They get Ryan McMahon. We heard they're looking for just guys who could hit left-handed pitching. Ahmed Rosario also fits the bill. They get Austin Slater. So everything's kind of held true, but the number one thing that we've heard now after third baseman is pitching. The Yankees are in the market for 2, maybe even 3 relief pitchers. I don't expect 3. I do expect 2. And then on a starting pitcher, I mean, this team has dealt with tons of injuries this year in pitching. Obviously, you think about Garrett Cole, you think about Clark Schmidt, you consider Ryan Yarbrough, you consider Max Fried, the blisters he's had. Luis Gil should be coming back. He's been making some rehab starts. He should be coming back here in the next couple of weeks. So starting pitching is a need. The names out there, Mike, pretty decent. I mean, going back to what we were just talking about, some of these guys that are being mentioned and we don't really expect to get moved, Joe Ryan's out there.
Yeah.
Joe Ryan is phenomenal. He's the best starting pitcher on the market right now in terms of trade deadline rumors. What are the odds Joe Ryan actually gets traded?
Well, I don't see the Yankees making a move for a guy that's going to have at least a year of control after this. And look at the potential rotation next season. Right. I don't think they're going to lock themselves into anything for next year.
Well, this is the thing with the Yankees. They're actually in a good position for next year. And it's kind of like, I don't think that they should necessarily just stay put and be like, okay, we've been playing mid, like, let's just try to get hot. But I don't think that they should pin themselves to a lot of stuff for the next couple of years. I think they should look more for those rentals. If you could get maybe one starter that you could have under control, like a Mitch Keller for the next couple of years, sure, I don't really have a problem with that because you could make him be your 5-star. Like Clark Schmidt's out for the year next year, right?
Yeah, he's not coming.
Tommy John surgery, he's done. Cole's coming back. Rodon, Fried, Heel, and then that 5th guy, you think Will Warren maybe, you think maybe if they trade for a Mitch Keller, and then, Cam Schlittler here has, been making a lot of buzz. But we know how starting pitching works, right? You want at least 6 or 7 guys that you can confidently say you can roll out there.
So Keller's got, it's not a big contract. It's got like 3 more years of control. I think it's $55 million. Like, I feel like that's a little much. I know that's not just the only example, and I get it. You want to have as many starters as you possibly can going into a season, but that feels like a little much. Maybe it's a rental and then they sign somebody in the offseason. I get that, but I don't know if Keller is and I know they've talked to the Pirates about him, but I don't know if that's a perfect match.
No, I understand. And the thing with that is I feel like they won't have to give up as much as people think, because I think if they just eat that contract from the Pirates, we know how cheap they are. I don't think right. I don't think they'll necessarily be like, oh my God, please give us all your prospects. Keller might not be the perfect fit, but even some of these other guys like Mackenzie Gore, throw him out of the conversation. Okay. I don't even know why the Nationals are considering trading Mackenzie Gore. I don't even know if they are. I think, honestly, one of my least favorite moves I've seen a team make in the past couple of months has been Mike Rizzo getting fired. I think if Mike Rizzo was still there, that would not be even in consideration. I thought Mike Rizzo was a great GM. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that.
I'm a big Rizzo fan.
Yeah. And then like Dylan Cease, like a lot of these guys just aren't fitting the bill. So I think if anything, a trade with the Diamondbacks, get Gallen, get one of these guys that, struggling a little bit, but I don't think they necessarily need to make moves like years in the past where you're adding guys to your rotation and keeping them there like a Frankie Montas, like a Jameson Tyone, like whoever else, where you're going to have them in your rotation for year or years to come.
A couple people have already said basically Cease is a Padre, an Astro. It's just not done yet, which is weird to me. I know he's not having a great year, but like, why are we selling arms when you don't really have that many? Although you're showing you do in this series, but I don't understand that. And even Robert Suarez, they're ultra bullpen. He's available. I don't get that either. Whatever. The Padres are a weird.
Yeah, the Padres are always just going to confuse the crap out of you. They're just going to make your head spin.
Yeah. I just turned back to see what's going on in the Met game, and I just turn right around because I don't want to watch it. We'll look at a little bit on the Mets here. Again, they make the trade for Tyler Rogers. I think another arm in the pen. I'm now officially going to say this. I'm now stating this. I tweeted it a week ago. I'll stand by it now. And you might laugh. Just see what you got with Clay in the bullpen. If it's anything better, just get Clay to the bullpen. Get a starter. I want Merrill Kelly. That's the starter I want. Merrill Kelly. Replace Clay in the rotation. Maybe call up one of your top prospects as well to start. Brandon Sprout. Get Clay to the pen. Enough of this. I can't watch it anymore. He went 3 2/3 today. He had the bases loaded in the first 2 innings. I can't do it.
All right. I'm not, I promise I'm not trying to do like the I told you so here. But what was I saying in the beginning of the year, right? Is Clay Holmes has great stuff. The starter thing could work, but how's it going to look when the guy gets deep in the year and he starts tacking these innings on his arm and tacking these innings on? We see it all the time with these converted relievers. So it looks like he's dealing with it right now. Mike, let me ask you this. If they do that, which I don't know if that's actually like being heavily considered within the organization, but
I'm sure they're talking about it.
I'm sure they are. And I'm sure that was honestly in the back of their mind when they made the signing of,
100%.
Hey, let's see what we could get out of this guy. Worst case scenario, if he starts fizzling out, we could just move him to the bullpen.
Exactly. Not paying him that much.
Next year, is he being built up as a starter again, or are you putting him back in the bullpen? Like, let's say he's good in the bullpen. Let's say he pitches to a 3 ERA in the bullpen. Are you building him up as a starter again, or are you keeping him in the bullpen?
Well, if you lose Diaz, let's just say he's really good. Let's just say he's, the Clay Holmes of old. Yeah, 7th or 8th inning guy. He's good. You feel comfortable with him in the game. Then maybe, and Diaz leaves. He has the opt-out. Maybe he's your closer next year. But I would assume that Diaz will be back, and I will assume that they will try and build him up as a starter again. Because I don't think, as long as injuries aren't a concern, I don't see the downfall in that. But you know what? With the guys they have coming up, they may not need a starter, but I think they would still try and build them.
Yeah, they do. I mean, like I said, they have a ton of depth in the organization. I think the biggest need for them right now, and everybody keeps talking about it, center field. It's been a poor position for them. Taylor hasn't had the year that he had last year. You knew what you were, or you knew what you wanted to get out of Taylor. You wanted that very good defense mixed with like potential league average output offensively, slightly below league average, but he had a ton of clutch moments last year and always seemed to kind of come up at the right time. He's been dreadful, obviously, offensively this year. Nimmo, I do not want even consider, playing center field at this age and contract. You can't be doing that.
McNeil hasn't looked bad out there. I don't feel comfortable with it, but he hasn't looked bad.
He's been serviceable. It's still not. It's like Judge. I'm not comparing Jeff McNeil.
No, you are.
But like, you're getting the job done, but we know that's not exactly where we want you. So, you consider the options out there. Obviously, all we've heard is this Luis Robert for Mark Vientos trade scenario going on. We actually haven't really talked about it that much. Obviously, I'm not a Mark Vientos guy. Made that known. I know he's been hitting better for the past week, but I still don't believe in Mark Vientos.
Looks good.
But I don't really believe in Luis Robert either, honestly. I think if his name was, Luis Merlo, I don't think anybody would really be saying anything. I think it's just this guy was a hyped up prospect. He was good for 1 year, like 4 years ago. He's dealt with injuries. He's obviously very athletic and strong and all those cool things. But in terms of a baseball player, he just hasn't been it for the past couple of years.
He's been very good for the last month. It's obviously not enough to feel comfortable. Yeah. I think he's going to be a Met in the next 24 hours. I'm pretty confident in that. And I think Luis Angel Acuna is going to be the main piece back, which I'll drive him to Chicago if they need me to. But I think that'll be the main piece back with another prospect. I think he'll be a Met in 24 hours. The Mets and the Phillies have been the two most aggressive teams after Robert at this point. The Phillies have also talked to the Guardians about Steven Kwan. But I think Robert's going to be a Met. I don't know if that's enough, right? I mean, if he continues to hit like he's been, then it'll absolutely be enough because he has like an 850, 900 OPS over the last 3 or 4 weeks here. So that would be unbelievable. But I don't know if you're going to get that output. A lot of people say, and I don't know how much I buy this, but you bring him into a situation like New York with these guys here and, you know, a pennant race that it'll rejuvenate him even more. I don't know, but I think he will be a Met. I think the Mets are going to take a chance as long as the price isn't too high.
Yeah, I mean, it could potentially happen. I get it. We know that the potential is there. I mean, 2023 was his last really good season. The guy hit 38 homers in 145 games. That's obviously 40-plus homer power. Stole 20 bags, 857 OPS. Like, you know, he plays. He's a very good baseball player.
He's fine out there in center.
Right. When he puts it all together, he's a very good baseball player. The problem is he doesn't put it all together very often. Yeah, I mean, the trade, you could see a rejuvenation happening. The thing that would make me be okay with it as a Met fan, honestly, is the market itself. Like, okay, what are you going to do with a reunion with Harrison Bader? Is that move really going to move the needle for you? Like, I know he's having a pretty good season, but you've been there, done that with Bader. You kind of know what you're going to get. And then Mullins, you know, are they a suitor with the Orioles? Are the Orioles going to hold a firm price? I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going on in these phone calls, but I do actually agree with you that I think Robert is the most realistic scenario for who their center fielder is going to be after Thursday night. I just don't know what it's going to take because you said Acuna, and all I hear is the White Sox want Vientos, and I genuinely don't know if they're going to pull the trigger.
I don't think the Mets are going to trade Vientos for him. I don't think it's because he hit a grand slam the other night.
But
I just don't think that they're going.
What is Mark Vientos' fit in this organization going forward? Because Beatty is playing a lot of second base. He's been okay offensively, hasn't been bad. Mauricio is seemingly getting better every week, and
he's the guy out of those four. He's the guy,
right? And he's showing this like huge potential that we always know that he's had. Pete's gonna opt out, but you imagine they're gonna bring him back.
Yeah.
So first base Pete, third base Mauricio, second base potentially Beatty or Acuna if they don't trade him, or a potential free agent trade this offseason. And then obviously Lindor is at shortstop. So your DH, I'm imagining they don't want to just make Vientos full time, especially as Soto and Nimmo, Nimmo really, but then Soto if his defense is a problem for them in the future. I don't think they want to lock up DH. So I don't know what Vientos' role is.
That's fine. And I agree with you. I don't know if he has a spot, and I don't know if Beatty's going to continue. I mean, he's dipped down the offense a little bit, but he's good defensively. I think right now that's their plan, but who the hell knows what's going to happen. And then if you do get a center fielder, now McNeil has to play most days, and McNeil's going to play second. So there is going to be some sort of logjam here. I get that. But even if there is for the rest of this season, you'll deal with it. You'll play the hot hand. You'll get guys at bats. You'll try your best to get guys at bats. If you want to trade Mark Vientos, let him raise his value a little bit here. I don't trade him for nothing. He's got 4 years of control left. He had a fantastic year last year. I know you're not a big fan, but even if he could pump up the offensive production and then you want to move him in the offseason, or you want to move Beatty in the offseason, fine. But I don't think they need to rush for a trade here with the White Sox for Luis Robert, who, as much as I talked him up, it's got a $20 million option next year, $20 million option the year after that. I don't know if the Mets, if they trade for him, are going to pick it up. That's a lot to give up 4 years of control of a young player that showed so much potential, not only in the regular season, but was clutch in the postseason. I don't think I'm willing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot. I would be comfortable as a Met fan giving up Acuna if it came down to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I may not be a fan of Vientos, but he still had a really good season last year, had some big hits in the postseason for you guys, showed potential to be a steady bat in your lineup for years. So to just give that all up for a struggling once, all-star level center fielder a couple years ago who you only have under control for potentially a couple of months, I do think it's a little much.
The Dodgers and Dream Team are getting Blake Snell back this weekend. He will be pitching for the Dodgers. He's back after missing, I think he's been out since April. So the Dodgers, who are looking to add pitching, not only starting pitching, but a lot of relief pitching because of the injuries they've had and guys struggling. They get a big piece back there. Let's go around the league a little bit more. Little less on the Mets and the Yankees. Thanks, Luke. Who's the biggest name traded? Who will be the biggest name traded in the next 24 hours?
It'll be Eugenio Suarez. He'll be the biggest name. Yeah, he's still the biggest name because
biggest name mixed with best player.
Okay. All right.
Who else are you going to say?
So it's still a Eugenio Suarez, but I can't, with the news that's come out recently and what I've been reading, it actually seems like Steven Kwan might more likely than not get traded. And that is really big. And honestly, the first thing that came to mind for me was Jazz Chisholm 2.0. Very similar. You could actually argue that Kwan's resume up to date when he's been available on the trade deadline versus Jazz is better. And same exact situation. He's got 2 more years of control after this year. Athletic player, left-handed bat, Gold Glove level defender at their position. So I think Kwan should be, the biggest name in terms of young star with years of control traded. But in terms of talent right now and years that they're having, Eugenio Suarez will, without a doubt, get traded. They're out of their freaking minds if they don't trade this guy.
Right, and he's going to get traded. Again, I agree with you. I don't think Joe Ryan's going to get traded. I don't think Mackenzie Gore is going to be traded, and that's kind of been debunked as well the past couple of days now that he's going to be staying. I think Cease, in terms of name value, he's probably going to go. I think Zach Gallen's going to go, but none of those guys get to the level of what Suarez or Kwan is. And I think Suarez, I would agree right now, especially with the way they're playing, it's Suarez. So it's kind of depressing. Again,
it is.
Matt to make the trade deadline great again. Come on.
Now that we're saying who's going to be the biggest name, might as well say where they're going to go. And I actually want to start. I want to start with Kwan because the Mets are actually not a terrible suitor.
Can he play center field?
I honestly don't know. I don't think they really ever play him in center field. I know he's a very good left fielder, but I know he's athletic. I know he could probably play the position. But even if you put him in left field, then I'll make the exception with the whole Nimmo, McNeil, whatever center field thing, because Steven Kwan is instantly a huge addition for the Mets. I think he would fit really well into that lineup also, because I think as much as, he has his up and downs and he's a very talented player, I still don't view Lindor as a true leadoff hitter. I just don't like him in that leadoff spot. If it was
he's not hitting leadoff anymore.
So what have they been doing? A rotation of Marte and whoever else?
Really been Nimmo. It's really been Nimmo for the last few weeks.
So even with Nimmo, we know that his reputation has always been he's not going to hit 300 plus, but he's going to take a lot of walks, which is what you want out of a leadoff hitter. But he's not too much of a threat to steal a base, right? Steven Kwan, to me, contact guy, can get on base, can steal bases. I really like him as a leadoff hitter. You instantly can slide everybody down. You could put Lindor second, Soto third, Alonso fourth, and Nimmo fifth. That is a phenomenal top 5 that is going to be very feared in the postseason. But
the one thing
that is going to be a steep price.
It's going to be a steep price. I think they have their center fielder of the future coming up next season in Jet Williams, and I don't think they're going to trade Jet Williams. Mm-hmm. And he can play center. And Kwon has played one game in center field this year. So,
but then you have
I don't know. I get it.
To move Soto to DH, Nimmo and right, and Kwon and left.
You want to do that already? I don't know.
Well, you don't have to play Soto at DH every time. I mean, you could rotate him and Nimmo, let them alternate. Nimmo's, this guy signed for 5 more years after this year, or 4 more years, whatever it is. So
yeah, 4 after this year. I get it. I don't know. I don't think I would rush to Kwon. I think if Kwon's going to go, I think he's going to be a Philly. I think Kwon is going to be a Philly if he goes.
The 2 guys we're discussing, Steven Kwon and Eugenio Suarez, the biggest bats on the market. I think my prediction is one of them will be a Philly.
And I think Joan Duran might be a Philly too. I think they're going big game hunting here, but they're going to have to part with Andrew Painter, which they don't want to do. Their top pitching prospect. He's the top pitching prospect in baseball, I'm pretty sure. They're not going to want to part with him.
Right. We know Dave Dombrowski.
Yes, we do.
We know Dave
Personally.
Right, personally. We know Dave does not necessarily shy away from making big splash moves.
No.
And
but he doesn't have currently he doesn't have the farm system, I don't think, to do it if you don't want to. And I wouldn't want to part with Painter. I mean, there's 3 guys I don't want to part with in my own farm system. So why the hell should he want to part with Painter?
I mean, the window for this team is not going to stay open forever, especially compared to some other competing teams. We know they have a lot of guys that are on the other side of 30. We know Kyle Schwarber. We think he's going to come back next year, but you never know. JT Realmuto is expiring his contract this year. Like, we know that they're not going to have these guys forever. So let's see what they could get out of this window right now. And I think that's the mentality that they have.
How about this? I think if Clase did not get suspended for the gambling, I think a package of Kwon and Clase would have went back for Painter. I think Dombrowski could have lived with trading Painter for a couple of years of control and a left fielder that would hit leadoff for you and play good defense and a lockdown closer.
That would be one of the largest trade deadline packages that we've seen in years. I mean, that is a huge package coming over. Like we know, Soto was a deadline move that was gigantic for the Padres, but to get Clase and Kwon is
be like the Turner Scherzer deal.
Yeah, that's a lot. And those are guys that are under contract for, like, Turner and Scherzer were rentals.
Right.
Those 2 guys are under contract for 2+ years.
And you'd have to give a Painter for it, and I think he would have been able to live with himself doing it. The Phillies are going to be aggressive, though. They're going to be extremely aggressive here. And you see Harper, like, talking to reporters saying, like, we've been talking in this locker room, like, front office really needs to make some big moves. We need the help, this and that. I don't know if I love that, be honest with you. I don't really know if I would like that.
I don't know if I'd like that either. Like, hey, Bryce, you seen the payroll that we have, bud?
Come on.
You like that guy, Kyle Schwarber, that's hitting the 40 home runs in your lineup right now? Yeah, we got to worry about bringing him back.
I don't get that. I really don't.
I don't get that either. That's a bit of
I understand the window's closing, and they do have holes. They need bullpen arms. They need another outfielder. They got to get rid of Max Kepler. The Philly fans are dying for the DFA Max Kepler, which has been a failed experiment.
He has been absolutely awful.
Man.
The Phillies, like, we're always going. They've literally been the same team for like 4+ years now. Their athleticism and defense, especially in the outfield, it's improved in the infield. Stott's a good defender. Turner has his peaks and valleys. Overall, he's not the best defensive shortstop. But in the outfield, like, Nick Castellanos is bad as it is. And you don't want to trot Kyle Schwarber out there, even though they do it once a blue moon for whatever reason.
He played at the Yankee Stadium. That was hysterical.
Yeah, just to let him have fun out there. But Steven Kwon, whoa, now we're talking.
That'd be big. No, that would be big.
Would be huge.
All right, so who's going to be the biggest seller? Like, which team has the most stable of players right now, and they're going to sell them off the most? There's a couple of names here that we can go off of. We just talked about the Guardians. Obviously, they have a couple of guys. One definitely traded, one we don't know. Yeah. A couple of other teams in mind. Who's going to sell off the most here?
I mean, it's kind of cheating because they already made a move, but the Diamondbacks are the obvious choice. I mean, they have a ton of guys that they could trade. They already traded Naylor. There's discussions of Kelly getting traded. We just talked about Suarez. Zach Gallen could be on the move. Like, they have a ton of guys who could be on the move, and it makes a ton of sense for them. They've had a really, really unfortunate season, honestly. They've been getting career-esque years out of Marte and Corbin Carroll this year, and Eugenio Suarez, but Corbin Burns goes down to Tommy John. Zach Gallen forgets how to pitch. It's just been a really weird year for them. They lost Martinez. They lost Puck. Like, they've had a really bad break year. So I would say them. If I can't pick them because they're already, selling and it's kind of cheating, I'm going to go with the Twins.
I was going to say the Twins. You're taking the D-backs. I'm taking the Twins.
Okay.
Because they're going to sell Duran. He's going to be traded probably by the end of today. They have Bader they can move. Joe Ryan's a possibility. And how about Correa in trade talks back to Houston? How about that?
Yeah, that's been – I've seen that a couple of times today. When I first got that notification, I'm like, what?
I woke up to that. I was like, what?
Not to play shortstop, right? Like, they have that covered. But
yeah, he's going to play third.
Yeah, and what are they doing with Paredes right now? They're just DHing him? Because Paredes has been one of the best players not one of the best players in baseball, but he's been really good for them this year.
Well, I think they would either DH him, or if they did make the trade, I think Walker would have to be in it to offload a little bit of money to take on that contract. And I guess you could play Paredes at first or try that at least.
Right, but how do you sell Walker? I mean, he's been.
You don't. You would have to give up a decent prospect to take Walker back.
Yeah, you gotta like
because the Twins would give up Correa in a second. I mean, I don't think they want to. He's having a down season. I don't think they want to. If Houston was willing to take the contract, you're not giving up major pieces here to bring him back.
Yeah, and you get the vibe that that's an unhappy marriage. The way that all started, it's been just really downhill from there. Actually, somebody just said that Paredes was injured, and unfortunately, I was not aware of that. He was on the 10-day IL. He could require hamstring surgery. He's getting a second opinion right now. Yeah, I mean, if these rumors are just coming about right now, then that tells you exactly what the Astros are hearing from the doctors and everything, because right now they don't know what it is. They just said it's a hamstring injury, but he's considering surgery. And usually a second opinion doesn't mean that first opinion was a good one. So Correa deal there does make some sense, but
I mean, I'd
never see him again in that uniform.
You're talking about 6-7 more years. He's got all those vesting options. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, all right, Paredes might be out the rest of the year. We're still talking about Correa here for a long time, and I would expect that Paredes is going to be their guy at third base for a little while.
Now that you mention that, I'm just pulling up Carlos Correa's contract here. So yeah, he's under club control until 2028. Then he's got those vesting options, and you imagine that those are just going to be put through. So the thing I don't understand with that is, if this is actually true, the Astros are the ones who are like, hey, we don't like long-term contracts. We don't like contracts that go over 6 years. That's why they didn't sign Bregman back. That's why they traded Kyle Tucker. So if that's true, then why the hell would they trade for Carlos Correa, who's got bad medicals? Sure, it worked for you, but that's in the past. You have a shortstop. Obviously, he's not going to be the shortstop. Third base we're talking about now. Paredes is hurt, like you said, but you don't replace an injury for 8 years. So I don't really see that being a fit for Houston. I think that's just some rumor that is not going to go through.
Which fringe team should buy or sell? I'm going to bring up a couple. You give me buy or sell. We'll start in the American League. The Tampa Bay Rays, buy or sell?
I think the Rays should sell. I mean, they've got a good young core going right now with Caminero. Aranda's having a really good season. But in terms of these guys like Brandon Lau and Yandy Diaz, the Rays are one of those teams where they kind of like to get ahead of the curve and trade away these guys before the decline starts or before any sort of peak in performance starts. So I would sell if I'm them. They could still look forward to 2026 as competing if they ever decide to spend some money.
You know what? They get a bad rap. They've offered some big contracts, had some meetings with big players. They try, and they have new ownership coming in now. Going to build a new stadium. Going to get them right. You watch out for those Tampa Bay Rays. They're going to be dangerous real soon.
They could be. You know what I think the Rays have been though? Like we know they offered Judge a contract, and they were even I don't even remember. Oh, Freddie Freeman.
They offered Freeman a full.
They offered Freeman a deal.
Big on Freeman.
The Rays to me seem like that kid at the pool, where like you have the Pirates and the Rockies and those guys where they're like, we're not going to the pool. Like pool's too cold. We're not going in. And then you got like the cool kids, the Yankees, Dodgers, Mets, where they're just jumping right in the deep end, going to the pool. They don't care. The Rays are like walking up and like dipping their foot in the pool and be like, oh, it's cold. Like, oh, I put my foot in it. But like, they ain't jumping in the pool, bro. So sell. Because I don't think the Rays are making any big moves soon. Get Shane McClanahan back next year. That's your big move.
Okay. Baltimore Orioles got it back. I'm not mentioning them, though. I'm not going to mention anybody in the Central. I mean, the Royals, the Guardians, really nothing to sell. The Royals locked up Lugo. Guardians, we know they're going to sell. Twins, we know they're going to sell. Mariners have already bought. How about the Rangers? The Rangers are back in this race, buy or sell on the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers have had this really bizarre season. Obviously, they were the worst offense in baseball for like 2 months straight. Fired their hitting coach. Still don't have the best offense, even though Corey Seager is like scorched earth right now. The guy everything looks like a beach ball to him.
Yep.
I think they're going to buy. When you consider, this front office is a front office that has proven that they like to spend money. They like to compete. They won a World Series a couple years. Bruce Bochy is not, this could be his last season. Like, I don't know how many more years this guy's going to be managing. So in the position they are, they're only a game back of the wild card right now.
Game back.
I think that they'll buy. Now, how aggressively they buy, does that mean that they're just going to get a depth piece? Are they going to go and get an impact guy? I don't know, but they'll be buyers rather than sellers.
Run differential plus 69. Their expected win-loss total 62 and 46.
Yeah.
I think they're going to buy. I think they're going to be aggressive. The Angels are somehow buying. I don't get it. They have a lot of pieces they could sell off. I mean, it doesn't make sense. They never do anything right.
The Angels are like, it's like somebody's controlling the Angels and they're just like hitting like when you're playing 2K and you're getting interviewed and you have two options how to answer the question and you purposely answer the question wrong. Yeah. That's somebody playing an Angels franchise and they're like, hit option 1 or option 2 for the Angels. Let's always do the wrong option. I think that's what's going on with them.
I'm skipping the National League East. We know what's going on there, although I think the Braves should be a little bit more aggressive on selling. They're not. How about the Cincinnati Reds? They're 3 games back of the wild card to 56 and 52. Should they buy or sell? I mean, they're buying, but I mean that I don't think that is a real.
Yeah, I don't
know.
I don't know if Ke'Bryan Hayes getting Ke'Bryan Hayes there is exactly a buy. The Reds are really interesting because I actually am starting to like their future outlook because of this whole rotation renaissance they're having right now with Chase Burns and Hunter Green, who's always been good. Obviously, we know Hunter Green's been good. Andrew Abbott's having a really good year. So they've been very interesting to watch. I don't necessarily think they should like buy though. Like, you're not sure you want to make the playoffs, and I think they could make the playoffs even if they just stay put. But like, the Reds are not going to compete for a World Series this year. Let's not do anything to jeopardize the farm. If you got some guys where you got depth at the position within the organization and you're willing to part ways with them to improve another position, sure, but cautiously buy.
Yep, I agree. It's interesting. A nice future. The pitching, like you mentioned, those top 3 guys have been great. But I would just kind of stand pat here and see what happens. Yeah. And finally, I mean, we kind of have an answer on this one already. I was very interested at the beginning of the week to answer this question, but the Giants are selling, and that is the right move. They need to sell off whatever they can before tomorrow because this team is not going anywhere. Reset. They're aggressive in terms of wanting to spend money. I think they'll do it in the offseason. They've already spent on Devers now taking on that contract, but they're going to sell. And I think Camilo Doval could be available for some teams, and they'd get a nice haul for him.
Could be available. It's been a very poor Buster Posey. He was doing what the fans wanted. He's spending the money, and thinking the Giants getting these big names, Rafael Devers, Willie Adames, and things just came crashing down for them. The rotation's been awful I mean, Justin Verlander needs to pack it up. Logan Webb, even though
he's available, by the way.
Yeah, thank God.
Made available.
Thank God. As was pitching coach. What are they going to do with him? Logan Webb pitched really well today, but he's had a really bad last 8 starts. He has not been good. But there's no concern about him. But just in terms of team performance, they haven't been playing well. Jung-Hoo Lee came crashing back down to earth. So I agree with the move. Sellers.
Seller. All right, JM. I think that's it. Unless you have anything more on the Mets or the Yankees here. I think we're good on baseball. A little quick football before we get out of here.
Yeah, I'm good on baseball.
All right. To football we go. We'll end here. Troy Hendrickson back at camp. I mean, that was an interesting holdout. I'm pumped, though. I'm pumped for football. I'm really starting to get there. Really pumped for my Giants. And but Hendrickson back at camp. They have been really. I thought I just read on my phone the message traded for Cedric Mullins, and I was about to freak out.
You know what's tripping me out? Do you get those Apple notifications where it summarizes the notifications?
Yes, but it doesn't happen on Twitter.
Okay, so it happens on Twitter for me, and I think I could shut it off. But so what'll happen is MLB trade rumors will tweet Mariners looking for pitching or whatever the heck, just making up a notification. Right. Mariners looking for hitting. And then I'll get another tweet 2 minutes later that says Eugenio Suarez x-rays came back negative. And then the summary of the thing from Apple will say Mariners, Eugenio Suarez.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And I'm holy crap.
That's a jump scare.
Yeah. It's happened to me multiple times.
We didn't talk about them. I think they're going to be real players here. I mean, apparently they're in on Duran, and I think they're going to be players for Suarez. We'll see how that ends up.
If I'm a fan of their team, I'm excited, but I'm hey, why don't we do this in free agency too?
But the rotation's there. They just need to add a little offense. Naylor's a nice start.
They traded for Rosarena last year. Traded for Luis Castillo a couple years ago. They love making noise on the trade deadline, but free agency, radio silent.
They don't have the money. It's all right. Yeah. Hendrickson's back at camp. He's going to get paid. It's just a matter of time. I mean, this is a crazy holdout. And they've had to pay. I understand the Bengals have had to pay so many guys, but yeah, he's back, and that was a story, and I thought I'd just mention it.
Could they have a drama-free offseason?
No, it's literally impossible.
This is worse than last. Last year, you had the Chase thing where it was this is a distraction to training camp. Now you've got this, Shamar Stewart. I mean,
yeah, at least Stewart's back. I mean, he was going to go back to Texas A&M.
Yeah. They're just all the dramatics are always happening with them. Joe Burrow, there's been drama, contracts, injuries, whatever the hell.
I'm blanking. They obviously paid Chase. They paid Higgins too, right?
They did, yes. They paid Higgins. They took care of their 2 wide receivers, which was shocking. Because
that's shocking. I thought
we know how cheap that owner is.
I thought they were going to have to trade Higgins. I was wrong on them. I was really wrong on them.
Yeah.
McLaurin wants. You know what? I think I'm a Terry McLaurin hater. He wants an absurd amount of money. He wants more than what DK got, and you could argue that DK shouldn't have got paid that, whatever. If I was the Commanders, I'm telling him hell no. $33 million a year, $34 million a year. I'm not the biggest Terry guy. I don't know. I wouldn't do it.
Well, this is what these guys deal with what these teams deal with, because somebody overpays and then you just screw the whole market. It's when Trevor Lawrence and Tua got their 50+ million, and it's what the hell? And the rest of the league is thanks for that. So I would pay Terry, honestly. I think the organization kind of owes it to him. He's been a really good player for them, consistent, and he's had to deal with so much crap within the organization, within how many terrible quarterbacks he's had. Him and Daniels prove that they have a very good chemistry. Deebo Samuel, I don't think is going to be a needle-moving move for them this year. I don't like that move at all. I really am not fazed by that for the Commanders. And I think if they lose Terry McLaurin, that they'll really be in trouble. So, honestly, I would pay him.
Brennan, stating the contract for Higgins and then saying McLaurin should get more. I don't even think it's – I think Higgins is a better player. I think he's a better player. If I could have one of the guys, I'm taking Higgins.
Yeah, I mean, Higgins, it's unfortunately the guy's in the shadow of Chase, but I'd still think there's not 15 receivers in the NFL that are better than T. Higgins. So
T. Higgins.
MLB Trade Rumors actually just tweeted Yankees and Mets. Nice. Yankees, Mets, Phillies have discussed Mason Miller with the A's.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen for the Mets. Maybe the Yankees. I don't think it's gonna happen for the Mets, and I don't think it's gonna happen for the Phillies.
It would be kind of sick if we got Mason Miller, but I'm not gonna put my hopes on.
How many back end bullpen guys you guys need? You trade for the Airbender, best closer in baseball. Not anymore. You got Weaver. Oh my God, look how good Weaver is. You guys want Diaz too? I'm sure there's a price.
Yeah, I mean,
add everybody. Well, let's go.
He's definitely gonna opt out too, right?
I mean, I think it's 20 million. Yeah, I'd probably opt out. 20 million. Yeah. For 3 years, probably get more than that.
I mean, well, unfortunately, the guys that we have been trading for, haven't necessarily been working out. So, I mean, Fernando Cruz was great. He's hurt.
Yep.
So, yeah, might need another guy, Mike.
Yep, might need another guy. You see Giants camp? See what's going on at Giants camp?
Yeah, honestly, I don't. Hold on, let me see this. How do you highlight? You could highlight the
yeah.
comments?
Let's get this.
Put that up there. Anthony Bender and Edward Cabrera, and I think Anthony Bedward's a Yankee legend. Anthony Bender, I think. For Spencer Jones and Schlittler, yeah, it's a little much. I don't know. This is the weird thing with Spencer Jones. Like, if you asked me in April, like, trade Spencer Jones I'd be like, yeah, have him. Like, Spencer Jones isn't doing crap. He's another failed prospect. All of a sudden, he's like Aaron Judge in AAA. So, I don't know. I don't know how to assess that. If I'm the Yankees, I honestly would hold on to him. Like, I think there could be a spot for this guy next year. So, I would hold on to him.
I think Bellinger is basically a lock to come back.
Yeah, me too.
And you have Dominguez and obviously Judge. So unless you're going to trade Dominguez for something, like if you replace Dominguez and Jones, I don't want to give up Schlittler, but all right, in this scenario, fine. Dominguez and Schlittler, I think, would probably do it. And I'd be okay with that because I have Spencer Jones. I wouldn't be shocked if one of those guys get traded here.
Dominguez.
I think the Yankees would, and it sucks because you could have sold so high on Dominguez earlier, but if you could get something for him still,
I think there's no way they trade him.
Okay.
Listen, the guy's so young. Like, we're not writing off Jason Dominguez. Like, this isn't an Anthony Volpe scenario where we're 3 years in now and we're like, okay, like, you're regressing. Like, what the hell is going on here?
No, it's still early.
I don't really think. If anything, yeah, maybe just because of the depth of the position, like they have so many outfielders in the organization. But yeah, I mean, I think they're out of their mind if they don't bring Bellinger back. They love Bellinger. It's obvious. That's why they traded for him. It's obvious the organization's in love with him, and I think he really likes being a Yankee. So I expect him back.
I think he's going to be back. So then why not trade Jones then? That'll be my question.
Because I don't know. I don't know if you want to just give Jones for Edward Cabrera just because.
Not in that sense. I don't know if I would do that. Maybe if it was just Jones for those two, you get a reliever and then Cabrera, fine. But I don't really think the need for a young starting pitcher like that for the Yankees at this moment is the biggest need. I wouldn't do that trade. But in general, if you could get something back for Jones, I wouldn't be afraid to trade him. This is his highest.
I think it would have to be like a perfect package, like okay, this makes a ton of sense. This clearly helps us. It fits into our future. Like, then I would do it.
Yeah,
and I don't think that necessarily does fit perfectly.
Where's Spencer Jones going to play?
Outfield, I guess. Like, if you have Jones, Dominguez, Judge, and Bellinger next year, I don't think that'll necessarily be a problem for them to be like, oh, we have 4 outfielders.
You got to rid of Stanton.
Yeah, and Stanton's contract is actually movable next year. This is the last year where it's a bad or not a bad. I mean, the guy's been their best playoff performer and a good big leaguer when he's healthy. But yeah, he could be in the conversation to be moved.
I've always said Stanton was a good fit for the Mets. Not right now, not anymore, but he was for a little while. All right, I think I'm good off of football here. If there's any other baseball points you want to,
I mean, we'll have a ton next week. Training camp stuff's going to keep heating up. Pads are on now, so that's good.
Love it.
The brain rot Twitter clips are starting to come out. I'm starting to see Anthony Richardson hype from a couple plays in a red jersey. I don't really know why. Yeah, we'll dive more into the training camp next week.
Abdul
And
Carter
fantasy
looks
football
like
stuff is really starting to heat up. I got a lot of stuff on my TikTok. I'm really thinking about fantasy now. I'm starting to look at the rankings a little bit. I haven't dove too far in because it's a rabbit hole and that I just always go down.
I'm here. I heard you.
Glitched out for a second.
Yeah, I know I did. Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm not there on fantasy football yet because, we got the baseball.
Right.
But I'm getting there.
I have the unfortunately my commissioner of one of the leagues I'm in
our commissioner.
Right, in our league, right, has not given the draft order yet. So I actually have no idea. So great question, but I don't have a pick yet. But in another league, I'm picking 9th and don't really know if
I'm picking right behind you in that league.
You are
this league? Yeah, look at that.
You are. So we could totally just ruin each other's drafts.
Keep it close to the vest. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to keep it close to the vest. By the way, Abdul Carter might win not only Defensive Rookie of the Year, but Defensive Player of the Year. We'll get to all of that, though, very soon because that is just so exciting.
Cool. Sounds good, bro.
All right.
Seems like you're not too far into the delusion. Yeah, that's great.
No, not at all. Okay. Episode 164 in the books. We'll talk to you guys next week. Check out our social media pages for some clips coming up for the weekend and the rest of the week. We'll talk to you guys next time.